Hi, my name is Brittany. I was a part of the group that did its research on Target Corporation, along with Michael, Maljung, Craig, and Gabriella. I'd like to begin about going into the history of the company. Target Corporation was founded in the 1960s by George Draper Dayton in Minnesota and was originally named Dayton's Hudson Corporation. Dayton was an American businessman and philanthropist who was a partner in Goodfellows Dry Goods Company, later renamed Dayton's Dry Goods Company. This is the company that would later become known as what we know today as Target. Following Dayton's death in 1938, the company was passed down to his son, George N. Dayton. Each store features many departments such as grocery, furniture, fashion, and home good appliances. Dayton stores have become known for dependable merchandise, fair business practice, and a generous spirit of giving. The first location was located in Roseville, Minnesota. The idea was to create a transforming family-run department store as a quality store with quality merchandise at discount prices. It was welcoming for all ages, meaning it had something for everyone. From toddlers to teens to adults, there was something for everyone. Dayton's director of publicity, Stuart K. Witness, came up with the name Target while envisioning a classic bullseye logo. The goal is to always hit the center, and the store would achieve this goal with retail goods, services, price, value, and the overall experience. Target differentiated itself by combining the best features of department stores: fashion, quality, service, all with low prices. In 1902, Goodfellows Dry Goods was created and later became known as Dayton's Dry Goods. 1962, the first Target store opened in Roseville, Minnesota. In 1966, Target began to expand nationally to Denver, Colorado. In 1994, the brand promise of expect more, pay less was created. In 1999, Bullseye, the bull terrier, was introduced and he became known as a celebrity that would bring Target to life. And in 2018, Target opened in Vermont and was then located in all 50 states. A little history about the famous Target logo. In 1962, the Dayton's public relations team produced more than 200 potential names for the store and the logo design. They came up with Target from a red and white whim and envisioned a classic bullseye logo with three rings. The goal is to hit the center, and the center would be the goods, services, price, value, and experience. In 1999, the White English Bull Terrier Bullseye made his famous debut as the mascot. On the left, you'll see the Bull Terrier Bullseye, who is the image that we see in commercials and many marketing campaigns for Target. On the right, we can see the evolution of the Target's actual logo, this one being the most recent and current one. Some of the company's existing strategies include price matching, where if you purchase an item from October 6th and the price goes lower on or before December 24th, customers can request a price match. The red card is Target's credit card, which allows customers to earn 5% every time they use their card with the credit card. Target Circle. Target Circle is Target's rewards program, and members they can receive exclusive perks and deals such as birthday gifts of 5% off their purchase. Target Circle's partnerships include Apple, Disney, Starbucks, Ulta, and St. Jude's. Apple has a 15+ year partnership that provides Apple products and benefits such as Apple Fitness, Apple Music, and other features to customers. Target has expanded Disney stores and Target locations, both in-store and online. Starbucks has a 20+ year relationship with Target, where customers can actually enjoy Starbucks while they're shopping because there are coffee shops located in various locations. Ulta is one of the most recent partnerships. Ulta and Target launched in August 2021 and plans on adding more than 250 locations this year. St. Jude's Target House was created in 1999, which is a hospital's long-term residential housing for children receiving treatment from St. Jude's. The mission is to help all families discover the joy of everyday life. Target aims to achieve affordability and simple commodities of providing everyday items to all their customers. Target's vision is to make Target the preferred shopping destination for our guests by delivering outstanding value, continuous innovation, and exceptional guest experience by consistently fulfilling our expect more, pay less brand promise. Some of the recommended corporate objectives of the company not only are made to help the customers, but also help the environment as well. The main objective is to help families discover the joy of everyday life. The vision to co-create an equitable and regenerative future together with their guests, partners, and communities. Sustainability is a big objective for the company. The company aims to elevate owned, national, and emerging sustainable brands that are inclusive, inspirational, and equitable. It aims to partner with value chain to design a solution to eliminate waste and providing ease and convenience. The goal is to be net zero by the year 2040. Inclusivity is also a really big and important objective for the company in creating an equitable and inclusive workplace. Target Forward is the company's vision to leverage the size and scale to benefit people, the planet, and business. Sustainable strategies include designing and elevating sustainable brands, innovate to eliminate waste, accelerate opportunity, and equity. REACH is Target's Racial Equity Action and Change Committee that was created in 2020 to create stronger racial equity for members, guests, and communities of color while creating a diverse workplace. By the year 2030, Target intends to use 100% recycled, regenerative, or sustainable source resources for their raw materials that goes into its own brand. The main objective is to help families discover the joy of everyday life. Some of the recommended leadership and corporate culture initiatives include the everyday life experience, such as just shopping for dinner. They want to make sure that not only are they providing customers with what they need, but that customers know that Target is a reliable and dependable resource for all their needs. The Target Run campaign is one of their most successful campaigns that produce a phenomenal return on investment in creating more awareness on same-day delivery, fulfillment, and curbside pickup, and also in-store pickup. The goal is to make the great design accessible to all, meaning no matter where you are, if you're on the run, on the go, you could still stop and get what you need. $5 billion is being invested in Target. This is a great investment that is going to help the company in the long run in terms of expanding their resources and expanding their platform to reach more people and more customers. 30 new stores are going to be opened in new neighborhoods. 200 remodeled stores with the latest features and experience will be created with this investment. This investment will also be used to create 5 new storage centers, which is really important because this will increase shipping speeds, efficiency, and capacity, and also same-day fulfillment. Also, another really big thing is that with Target's new partnership with Ulta, it plans to open more than 250 more locations of Ulta in different Targets nationwide.
Hi, my name is Maojun Zhang. Today, our project topic is the Target Corporation. So Target Corporation is based on Minneapolis and serves guests at nearly 1,900 stores and at Target.com since the 1946. It's a very old company. And Target is a general merchandise retailer with stores in all 50 US states and the District of Columbia. But also they had expanded their markets into Canada since 2013, but it's kind of failed, but we gotta talk about that later. And Target appeals to a range of customer segments, and including women, kids, teens, young singles, and families. Typically, customers are well educated and has very nice income, a family who lives active lifestyle, and their median age is around 40 years old. And in this section, I'm going to talk about the recommend competitivity strategy, and yeah. So as we know, Walmart is one of the biggest retailer and wholesaler in the whole world, and compare with, and actually is very similar. Walmart has very similar industry as with Target, but they are very different size. So as the following number you can see, so Target is much more smaller than Walmart. How they gonna compete? That's the question. Targets actually can improve its market, and Targets can improve its market position by targeting a more diverse customer population. Until now, Target has differentiates itself from other discount retailer by tending to hyper markets. Target is not seen as low classic retailer, and Target is a consumer market. Most of the customers are middle class individuals aged between 18 to 44 years old, and Target can improve its market position by targeting a more diverse customer population. It can attract more customers by offering unique products that cater to their individual needs, and concentrating on underserved market segments. And the company can also reach more extensive and diverse target audience by offering more products. Most discounts retailer have a similar products offering, making it difficult for companies to differentiate themselves. Of Target's products offering, beauty and household essentials and clothes and accessories are most important. The former generated about almost $18 billion, while the latter generates about $15 billion in net revenues in 2018. And the company should invest in products that generate significant revenues, and invest in the least important ones. Target has strong brand loyalty that is can use as primitive strict against as rivals. It should avoiding competing on price and focus on the differentiation instead. It should offer its customers convenience and core value propositions, and ensure products availabilities in all retail stores and outlets. So Targets should implement offensive strategies to outcompete its competitors. Target has, as I said, Target has very strong brand loyalty. It should avoid the competing on price and focus on the differentiate instead. The company should considering entering new market segments, including global markets, the old population offers promising opportunities, but only if mediates by innovative technology. The company should also seek differentiation by creating new markets undiscovered by its competitors. It should outsource non-critical value chain activities to keep operational costs low. Strategic alliance and partnership with will help the company establish a long footholds in new markets, especially the global markets. Finally, it should concentrate on rebuilding its brand image to sustain its core competency. Yeah, in this section, I'm going to introduce the recommended strategies for competing in international markets. Target's failed entering Canada's markets in 2013. One of the Canada's customers' biggest problem was the empty store, and as I said, Target already tried international expansion when it entered Canada market in 2013. By the year, the company has had more than 130 locations across the whole Canada. But its entry north of the border proved to be ill-fated and decided to abandon its Canadian ambitions just 2 years later. Target's rapid expansion was criticized from the beginning, primarily because of its plan to open so many locations in a very short amount of times. Also, since existing Canada in 2015, Target shift its attention away from the international expansions and towards other goals. So after the introduction, I have a few recommendations for Targets to re-entering the global markets, including the revamped websites and e-commerce strategies and slow expansion with physical stores. So in the first, I'm going to talk about the revamped websites and e-commerce strategies. And a huge potential source of revenues for Target is its website. In 2015, Target commits a significant amount of capital to improve its e-commerce business, while it sets its life and more or less accessible worldwide. It is not what international customers expect from one of the major retailers in the United States. But Target needs more than just a website if it plans to improve its business by expanding internationally. It needs to establish a network of warehouse and distribution center in different countries. As it stands, and Canadian ordering from Targets would thus have their items shipped from a Target distribution center in the US, subjecting the products to high shipping costs and import duties. By establishing distribution center, one in Canada, another one in UK, yet another in Japan, goods coming from international factories could bypass the US and enter the destination country directly from wherever the goods is manufactured. Not only is it cheaper for the consumer, but it's also faster, both in terms of shipping times and the time during which the items is held in the inventory. And another suggestion is slow expansion with physical stores. Permit stores would be the next, but not anywhere near the scales that Target was going for in Canada. A return to Canada would need to see stores that resembles the smaller and more efficient city Targets or Targets express location. This means they would need to be small, densely stocked, and in major urban centers. In Canada, for example, Target might have able to eventually expand to large suburban stores, but given the popularity of online shopping, operating as many locations as they had previously would be overkill. In Europe and Asia, smaller stores are all that Targets may be able to afford. Big box retailing is much too expensive for Targets in high cost cities, given that Targets would have excellent e-commerce websites. By the time it's open stores, a large part of revenues can come from online stores coupled with delivery or via in-store pickup. In the next, I'm going to talk about the past financial performance for Targets. As we know, in the past few years, definitely the retail wholesaler store has big increase. So in the below the numbers, I have record from what Target has announced on the March of this year. So Target's delivered about $106 billion in total revenue, having grown nearly $28 billion, or more than 35% over the past 2 years. Comparable sales grew 12.7% on top of 19.3% in 2020. Comparable traffic grew about 12.3% on top of 3.7% in 2020. So which means it's a good number, and they have huge growing in revenues. But in the next, let's see. This is the number that's the data that Target has released 6 days ago. So operating income was $1 billion in the third quarter of 2022, down 49.2%, almost 50%, from $2 billion in 2021, driven primarily by decline in the company's gross margin rates. Third quarter operating income margin was 3.9% in 2022, compared with 7.8% in 2021. Which is, yeah, we can see definitely Targets have had a huge reduce on revenues. So they might have a financial problem in later on. So they have to seek in a way to improve themselves. Which in overall recommendations, I have 2 points that I can recommend the Target to. First, have more differentiation in products. Don't try to compete in price. Yeah, just because Walmart is already the top competitors in the industry, and it's really hard to competing with them in price. So which means we can only find other ways to improve themselves, which is having the more differentiation in products. Right. So in the next, which is related with the globally, build up more warehouse and distribution center in globally, then slowly open up the small and more efficient physical stores in urban area of the city in globally. Yes, and at this point, Target is already have the very successful did very successful job in US. I think it's definitely they have potential to enter in global markets. It's just needs their supply chains to be ready before they can actually open up the physical stores. Otherwise, there's gonna be empty stores and they're not gonna get revenues. Yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabby, and I'll be starting off with some of the components of Target's external environment. To start off, some of their demographics include most of their audience being 18 to 44 years old, majority of them being females, making around about or over $65,000 as their income, and they mostly make up or consist of white and Hispanic consumers. Next, another factor is actually competition, and Target's competition consists of primarily three different categories: department stores, wholesale clubs, and general merch stores. And some examples of, or actually their competition as a whole, actually, for department stores in reality are Macy's, JC's, Penney, and Kohl's. Some examples of whole clubs that are their competition are BJ's, Costco, and Sam's Club. And lastly, general merch stores, some of their competitors are actually Dollar Tree, Walmart, and Five Below. Legal factors are very important for Target to take into consideration, such as employment law. Employment law consists of many different items such as wages, vacation pay, overtime pay, family leave. There is a certain amount of hours that a person works in New York that can qualify them for extra pay. So there could be a certain amount of hours that somebody or an employee works, and if they exceed those hours in total for their work week, then they're entitled to get paid a little bit extra. And as for vacation pay, people are entitled to cash out their vacation pay. And there's also different implications regarding family leave in New York, whether it be just if a family member is sick or somebody becomes pregnant. For discrimination laws, Target really needs to follow this, and they actually partake obviously in some of these, or else they would be in very legal hot water. So some of the factors are them being ADA compliant, equal pay. They can discriminate their hiring process based on their race, religion, color, sex, or national origin of the people they're trying to hire. And lastly, it's age discrimination is prohibited by law, meaning you can't hire or can't not hire someone based on a particular age. The next one is consumer protection, and some of their points or laws that kind of go into consumer protection are that they have to enforce and recognize state and federal regulations, and Target has to make consumers aware of things such as scams and or frauds. And lastly is data protection, which mainly incorporates standards by the GDPR, which are the following: fairness, purpose, limitation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation, confidentiality, and accountability. The main point about all these legal factors is not only to protect Target as a company, but to also keep the employees and their consumers' best interests at stake. Technology is ever growing, and Target faces many differing external technological influences that can include the following: touchless AI interface. What that basically means is that there are a lot of new emerging technologies where stores can implement cashierless checkout. For example, Amazon has it. They have stores where people can just walk in, walk out, don't have to interact with anybody. So this is something that Target has to face, because with this type of technology, this can mean that a lot of people won't have jobs anymore if these AI robots take the role of their jobs. So Target has to take that into consideration, and if they really want to implement this or implement a certain part of it, so they keep that personal touch and interpersonal connection between the company themselves and its employees, its customers, etc. The second is RFID technology or other means of inventory sensor control. This helps to keep track of inventory and makes it easier. So it's not like you're doing everything by hand or data log entries and so on. RFIDs make it easy for you to keep track of things. And lastly is big data analytics. To start off, the Target's internal environment It comprises of many factors, such as their objectives, which they clearly state on their professional website, and it includes some points such as them wanting to increase the number of stores in different neighborhoods. They also want to increase current services, enhance current services, increase the number of shipping centers, and also create products that are affordable. They want to emphasize that affordability aspect to its customers. And as mentioned earlier, their mission statement is to help all families discover the joy of everyday life. The current organizational structure of Target includes the following, with Brian Cornell as their chairman and CEO, following by John, Melissa, Brett, Craig, Don, Michael, Cara, Leisha, Rick, Katie, Christina, and Pratt. And another aspect of internal environment is that their corporate culture values. And it is important that Target focuses on these and makes it well known, because it shows that Target as a company focuses on ethics and not just numbers, finances. And some of their values that they like to emphasize on their website are value voices, recognition, whether it be recognizing that their customers have a voice or their employees, etc. They want to achieve goals, create trust amongst their employees and their consumers. They are also a very inclusive company, and they value progress as their primary focus. And it's also key to mention that Target also has collaborations with different organizations, so they can show that they care about social impacts. Physical property, aka their physical assets, such as stores, distribution centers, and office space, are another internal factor for them as well. Key performance indicators, which will also be discussed later on, I'll go into depth about that, are important aspects of business in order to monitor progress. And for Target, some of their current KPIs that they focus on are revenue, more specifically sales, the number of stores, customer retention, operating expense, and net profit margin. However, some KPIs that they should emphasize or pay more attention to, or some that they should work on or implement, are online traffic metrics, such as conversions, cost per clicks, visits, etc., stuff like that. And the second will be sales per employee. Sales per employee can actually help boost morale and motivation for employee performance, so it can better the employees that for themselves first and foremostly, and the company itself, because if the employees are happy and doing well, then everybody as a whole will work towards teamwork and create better results for the company as a whole. Next, we have strategies for Target to use to compete in developing markets, which include the following: merger and acquisition, analyzing current and past structures, and increasing innovation. Some benefits of a merger and acquisition are that it creates diverse and bigger customer profiles, creates more revenue, and creates a lot of synergies. However, there are cons, such as there's a potential for Target to end up absorbing excess debt from the company that they're trying to merge and or acquire. Operational differences, meaning one company could go about how they process data, how they do their finances in a different way that doesn't necessarily align with Target's operations. And the lastly is culture clash. Target could have a different culture that is different from the company that they are interested in. And it's important that they have to figure out how to mesh well together, and they have to take all that into consideration. And another idea is that it's important to note is that Target should dissolute any current existing acquisitions if they aren't bringing in much positive revenue or exposure for both ends. So if Target isn't benefiting much from a certain company that they acquired, then they should potentially look into dissoluting that or cutting off ties or vice versa. Therefore, just to move on, some acquisitions that Target currently partakes in are Shipt, Deliv, Grand Junction, and Ztata. And the only merger that Target really partook in was back in the day when they first were starting to come up, which was the Dayton Hudson Corp merger, which was comprised of the Dayton Corporation and the J.L. Hudson Company. Analyzing structures. Analyzing structures, it's a recommendation that we would like to propose to Target, which is to analyze Target's current and past corporate structures to see if there were any positive results or discrepancies that should be replicated and or thrown away. Lastly, innovation is an aspect that has become increasingly important amongst business, which Target should pay more attention to and emphasize because it brings a lot of benefits such as boost in productivity, increased profitability, more creativity, the competitive advantage, a better market position, and even better sales. Some recommended operations for strategy include KPI analysis, which I briefly mentioned earlier, use of competitive strategies, and tactical planning. Some KPI analysis benefits are better monitoring of patterns. They can view progress, which I briefly touched on earlier, create employee incentivization, better view of results, advanced vision of objectives, and they can KPIs can actually help determine which future practices to implement. Some competitive strategies that Target should look into or emphasize and pay more attention to are cost focus and differentiation. Some benefits of cost focus are that it provides better efficiency. It can help to price products at the lowest possible cost, which is something that's great for Target since that's one of the values that they want to provide to their customers, the affordability aspect, and cost focus helps reach economies of scale. For differentiation, it is easy to implement, better to manage, and you can create substantial amounts of revenue and profits. Lastly, we have tactical planning. Tactical planning benefits include you can track progress, better organization, time management, increased reactions to change, strategic planning, and increasing return on investment.
First, we're going to start with our recommended functional and tactical level strategies. We started with penetration pricing, human resource management, and research and development. Penetration pricing is introducing a new product or service into customers at a lower price initially and slowly and steadily rising the price. How we recommend that Target does this is with their own Target brand products that they have in cosmetics, groceries, and home decor. A good example of this can be Good and Gather Organic, their line. What they've done and what they can do is introduce this product at a lower price and introduce it at a lower price than the competitors than the Walmart, the Trader Joe's, or the Walmart brand Cheerios. Introduce Good and Gather organic cereal at a lower price. Therefore, customers are now coming from Walmart, they're coming from Trader Joe's, Kroger, Ralph's, Costco. They're coming from there to get this Target brand Good and Gather organic cereal that one is good in quality and two is a cheaper alternative. As they continue to come from the competitors, Target can then slowly and steadily raise the price. And by then, the customers have built a loyalty, value, and to Target, and they won't want to go anywhere. With penetration pricing, you do run the risk of losing these customers as your price increases. these customers are price conscious, which means that they will tend to go towards the lower price. Next, we got research and development. This strategy is built to enhance the customer experience through internal improvement. Here, we want to look inside and research how we can get better and improve the customer experience in Target's case. And we decided that moving towards automation was the best route for this. Introducing kiosks around the stores that help with anything, that help you if anything is in stock online, if anything is in stock in store, what the price is, where you can find something in store, what aisle, and last but not least, cashier kiosk. Just improving the customer experience. We want to make sure that we're researching how to make the customer feel at home and have the best experience while in the store. We're going to do this by external acquisition, which means that we are going to look to buy these kiosks and not produce and manufacture them. So we're going to look at the competitors at the Walmarts, at the grocery store, at the Trader Joe's, the Costco's. We want to see if they're using these technological kiosks and see where they come from, and kind of gauge what price we want to be at and how we can get better with it. Next, we've got the human resource management strategy. This is big and placing a focus on improved recruiting and employee compensation. The goal here is to reduce turnover and develop our employees internally. We want to make sure that we're fostering development and growth throughout the company, and we're not just getting lower skilled employees at lower wages. And we want to get higher skill or highly skilled employees that can get paid a little higher of a wage, but can cross train and self-manage themselves so that we can delegate more responsibilities, we can work more efficiently, and we can become the human capital, or our human capital can increase. We do want to raise the investment in human resources just a little bit in terms of employee compensation, making sure they're getting paid adequately, making sure that we have invested in human resources and recruiting sites, staffing agencies, ads, any way that we can improve the recruiting process to get better people and to get the right people into Target and make sure that they plan on being here for a while. And we really want to reduce the turnover here. Next, we're going to go with our recommended organizational structure. What structures we believe are best to implement these strategies. So first, Target's current organizational structure is a decentralized organizational structure. This is where responsibilities are delegated to various high-level individuals. This is where you have a manager, you've got an assistant manager, you've got a sales floor lead, you've got a sales rep. Here, every individual has their own set of responsibilities that they're delegated, and this can create a level of organization. It creates a level of focus. It makes sure that every employee and every employee and every task are working hand in hand. Every task has an employee and every employee has a task. This makes sure that nothing gets left off, that there's no confusion about who does what, when it needs to get done, where it needs to get done. Most of these responsibilities are delegated to these high level individuals that are able to then delegate that it needs to go here, here, here. And in turn, they can exercise their expertise and their knowledge in certain facets and segments that they want to. Finally, focus. It's big because, like I just said, everybody's able to focus on their delegated task and able to really hone in on what they're doing and not have to worry about what somebody else is doing or what this needs to get done. You minimize the task in front of somebody by placing more high-level individuals and delegating each task to each individual. So our first recommended structure is actually the product group structure. Here, this simply enables the company to introduce and manage similar lines of products, meaning meaning we want to set up individual segments for individual products, and we want to make sure that the cosmetics are grouped together, that the home decor is grouped together, that the groceries grouped together, and therefore we can enable the managers and the company to really hone in on certain products. Like we said, with the decentralized organization structure, we do want to stay in that realm. We want to make sure that everything is taken care of, that we group the products together so that each product is getting the level of care and attention it needs, and it's specific, and it has somebody that's working with it at every step of the way. Next, we've got the geographic area structure. This is important. This helps you tailor products to the different regional differences that you'll have. Here you want to build your teams based on location. You want to build out for Target has companies or store fronts everywhere. They operate everywhere in the world. So we want to create geographic area teams, and we want to make sure that teams are coming from the areas that they are in and that they are researching, that they're developing. We can use this structure specifically to specifically to implement research and development in terms of figuring out where to research, figuring out how to research, understanding what the consumer wants, what it needs, why it wants those things. This is very important in the geographic area structure because we want to build the team and start at the top and slowly delegate and delegate and delegate and delegate until we've got a whole team and a new location that is in every single storefront that comes to Target. As you can see, side by side, geographic area structure for a multinational corporation. You can see there's a board of directors, president, R&D and corporate staff, and then you've got operating companies in the 5 different places. Here, as you can see, and it says because of space limitations, product groups for only Europe and Asia are shown here, which means that there's product groups for every single one of these: US, Latin America, Africa, Asia, and Europe. And then these product groups are now built at every level, at every place, in every geographic area. Therefore, they are tailored to that area itself, and not Asia is not operating at the same marketability, same products as US or Europe. There are differences, and they do need their own specific product groups to be able to hone in on those. As you see over here on the product group structure, there's health, beauty, food, and admin. And they all share the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pillars: research and development, manufacturing, finance, marketing, and customer services. This means that every single segment is getting the same level of treatment and the same level of care and due process, so that every level of the business and of the market is captured and is attended to, and it has its own agenda and its own process, but it all correlates to Target itself, and that is in every single operating company that Target has, as opposed to geographic area where the US may have 3 product groups that are different than Europe. And that's okay because they're focused on US and Europe is focused on Europe. Scenario planning. Here we're going to look at optimistic planning. The optimistic scenario here is that both strategic initiatives result in more consumer data. Getting consumer data is important because it helps you understand the consumer behavior, where they come from, why they do things, what they want to buy, when they want to buy them. And in the optimistic scenario, you gain consumer data while they benefit from these region-specific products. And in turn, your profit is maximized and your total revenue is maximized. Pessimistic planning. The pessimistic scenario here is that there is increased turnover, there is more or less revenue, and because of that, we do want to have contingency plans in effect here. We do want to have plans in place, like with the kiosk, instead of having fully automated cashiers. If a customer does want to have a human interaction, they can go to a human cashier and they can get their needs taken care of there as well, if that's how they choose. We want to minimize loss here. If there is a loss in the pessimistic scenario, we do want to make sure that we're minimizing it in ways that we are testing, and we are making sure that everything is built certain ways that we're ready to. And finally, you want to minimize the effects of created geographic barriers. Now, with all this segmentation, with all the delegation, does come innate barriers. You lose coordination between your team. Different employees may feel as though they're far away from the rest of their friends, employees, coworkers. This is where virtual conferencing comes in. This is where you can get on Zoom, you can get on Skype, you get on Microsoft Teams, Word, and you can still connect and have that same coordination. As you can see, this is just a scenario planning process. It kind of goes through the 4 key phases that I chose to look at for target scenario planning. First, you're gonna look at the drivers of the future. In Target, we've got automation, geographic-based products, human resource management. The impact of these drivers is going to be increased manufacturing efficiency, increased profit, and increased employee morale and performance. Then you want to gauge the future. To gauge the future, simply we want to allow Target to completely capture the industry. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can, and that every part of these strategies and scenarios is leading towards completely capturing the industry. And then the unfavorable outcome is increased employee turnover and loss of revenue. Here we don't want that, but we do need to make sure that we account for it and that we have a contingency plan in place. 5-year projections. As you can see here, the recent financial highlights, and operating income, diluted EPS, earnings per share, total revenue, and net earnings. In the first year, there's really no total revenue doesn't go up. We're still kind of expecting nobody to understand what the strategies are. Strategies may not be up and running just yet, but they will be. So revenue stays the same. Net earnings go up as we continue to rise after COVID. And year 2, you start to see more of a jump in total revenue and net earnings. The diluted earnings per share stays the same. Operating income goes up a little bit, as it usually does. In year 3, you see a big jump in total revenue. You also see a big jump in net earnings. You finally see a jump in diluted earnings per share. And this is because year 3 is when we expect the strategies to really get rolling and really start to rear their head. Year 4, huge jump in total revenue, the biggest one by far. This is about the only one. This is because we are now 4 years removed from the pandemic in 2020, and our strategy has worked. It has proven successful, and we're good now. 77% to 78% in net earnings is pretty steady. Diluted EPS, the earnings per share, does go up with the total revenue. Now that the revenue has gone up, more people are believers. The share price goes up as so. And then finally, in year 5, total revenue is pretty much the same. Everything pretty much is steady. Diluted EPS is the only thing that goes down. And this is because it did peak at 75 in year 4. As you can see, we have a projected 5-year revenue growth rate of 25.8%. And if we go up, you can see that the 2021 growth rate is 13.3%, which shows that we are projecting to have about a quarter of growth, 25%. And in 5 years, we do expect that our strategies will take it to about 25 to 26% in total revenue. and there will be a 25% growth.
Hi, my name is Michael Lee, and I'll be taking you through the rest of our Target presentation. So I'm going to first start with the recommended corporate strategy. So Target's corporate strategy, for a long time has been quality products, good service. You go there, you feel comfortable, it's clean. There's a lot of options to, of things to choose, no matter what you're looking for. It's usually, reputable brands or the Target brand. So a little excerpt from the current recommended or the current corporate strategy on Target's website states, our durable business model is designed to stand the test of time and to differentiate us in the marketplace. Over the years, we've built a foundation that serves our guests, team members, vendors, communities, and shareholders well, and delivers strong results, no matter how the environment around us evolves. It's a framework that guides us as we live out Target's purpose to help all families discover the joy of everyday life. At the heart of it all, our team's culture of caring, growing, and winning together. And obviously that's right from their website. But if you do go to a Target store, whether it's a large Target with the groceries and every other aspect that they usually have, or it's a smaller one where it's just the clothing and supplies and toys and things of that nature, they represent themselves well. They have their employees wear the red clothing. It's very when you walk in, who works there, who doesn't. Always very helpful. It's definitely gives them a leg up compared to some of their competitors. You go in there and you see they have quality products you recognize, companies you recognize that they sell. It's all good quality. It's a little bit more expensive than some of their competitors. It's not as expensive as a high-end store, but what you're getting is quality. That's kind of that whole puzzle together makes a good recipe compared to their competitors. So in 2021, Target had strong performance and their strategy is resonating with their guests. They build on the momentum in 2022, which they're planning to invest $5 billion, and they have done that to keep growing their business and bring guests more of what they love. They are opening 30 new stores, coming to more neighborhoods. They've remodeled 200 stores with their latest features. I've personally seen a few where they've almost gutted it and made it, almost look brand new and with a lot of new amenities and it really feels clean and comforting when you go in there. They have 5 new sortation centers to increase their shipping speed, efficiency, and capacity. Greater than 250 new Ulta Beauty at Target locations or opening or set to open in 2022, and more owned brands launching across their multi-category portfolio and new enhancements to make their same-day services more convenient than ever. So Target's strategy is made up of 6 pillars that define what they aim to deliver in the coming years. Each of these pillars is focused on specific initiatives to make sure that they reach their long-term goals. The first one of those pillars is delivering affordability to our guests. I touched upon it a little bit, where it's not the cheapest products you'll get. Like you won't walk in there and find things that are way cheaper than all their competitors. Typically, compared to a Walmart, they'll be a little bit more expensive, but they'll also be a little bit better quality generally. The next pillar is differentiating from our competition with their own brands and curating assortment of leading national brands. So again, a little bit touched upon this previously, but they have a great brand recognition, and that's something we have talked about and will talk about, where you walk into a Target, it's good quality, and even if it's a Target brand's products, again, you're comfortable with it because it's good quality, and that's why they have such good return on consumers. The next pillar is investing to create an engaging and differentiated shopping experience. This kind of goes along with what they previously do. You walk into a Target, they have a good grocery selection. They also have some fast food places you could eat. There's good customer service. There's plenty of options to choose from, no matter kind of what you're looking for. The next pillar is leveraging their stores as hubs to efficiently provide a convenient and safe experience for our guests, whether they purchase online or physically in the store. The fifth pillar here would be maintaining and enhancing their relevancy to deepen engagement with guests. And then the sixth pillar would be leveraging their size and scale to benefit people, the planet, and their business, primarily through Target Forward. This is bringing their strategy to life is important work to them, and they couldn't do it without their great people and capabilities. They take great pride in developing their team, operations, and technology. The next topic I'm going to cover is the recommended strategies for strengthening the company's competitive position. So a recommendation would be to set up a compensation plan for top management that revolves around achieving company objectives. And whether that is you take the board, and if the company hits a certain objective, or they develop these 5 new stores, or whatever the planned out objective is at the beginning of the year, you determine, all right, well, if the top management achieves these goals, they receive some sort of incentive. That way it incentivizes the company doing well. They have a little more skin in the game, and they truly want to see some of these projects through. Another one would be to identify innovative ideas that competitors like Walmart or any other large retail store that kind of hits a lot of different categories and has a lot of products. So take something that they've implemented and has been successful, and try to add a Target twist to it. That way, you see something has worked. As long as your consumers would respond well to it, it's obviously open to interpretation what type of innovative idea you want to roll out, or what you like, or what fits Target brand. But just kind of copying or taking something that works and adding it onto your own company is another good idea. So another one would be to maintain the strategy of having similar products to Walmart, which they already have. They have a lot of similar business models, or they have a similar business model where their stores have groceries and clothes and supplies and toys. You kind of hit every category, but they have Target's has slightly better products. So they're a little more expensive, but I think when people go to Target, they know they're going to be charged a little bit more for a little bit better quality product. So another one would be maintain the business model of having better products with slightly higher prices than Walmart, but cheaper. So it's very similar to that last one, but cheaper than the high price or high class competitors. Maybe some high end products, as opposed to Target, where they have a lot of good quality products that you can count on, and you pay a little more than a lesser product, or Walmart, where they might have a little bit lesser quality product, but you're not paying too much where an everyday person can't shop there. And then the last one would be Target's product differentiation should be maintained, as it gives them a large consumer pool. So right now, they have a very consistent, strong, loyal consumer base. So changing anything drastically, could result in losing some of those consumers to a Walmart, or to a higher class if the products drop one way or the other. And then there's another one here. So Target can continue to strengthen their competitive position by continuing to make shopping at their stores a one-stop shop, where consumers feel they can buy great quality items, whether it's clothes, supplies, food, or a number of other items. Excuse me. So yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, where you go to Target, you can get groceries. If you want to get your kids toys, if you want to get cards, for a birthday, you want to blow up balloons, there's so many different items there that you don't have to go to all these different stores. You go to one stop, there's a lot there, and you don't have to run around town when you can just go to one place. Another one would be the Target Corporation can strengthen their competitive position by maintaining and expanding their strong brand recognition. So they have the famous logo where it's simply just a red Target with a dot in the middle. It's very recognizable, very identifiable. People, associate that automatically to Target Corporation. Also, they have their own quality products as well. So Target has their own brand of items that they sell in their store. So people see the logo, they see the brand, They know it's good quality, and that's something that gives them a good competitive advantage. I will now discuss the recommended actions for the strategy execution. So this year, in 2022, Target's giving their frontline store team members what they know that that team members want. They want more pay, they want flexibility, they want reliable hours during the holidays, which is the busiest time. So to start, they offer their current store teams an additional 5 million hours, which adds up to more than $75 million in pay. And through a new mobile scheduling app, they can conveniently add or swap shifts that align with their schedules. So a lot of times the biggest complaints working at a store like Target, especially in the holidays, is all these people want the busy shifts. They want to work more hours when it's busier, maybe get some overtime, or they can't reach someone that's is off and they want to switch hours, and the person's not answering their phone, they don't have their phone number. So I think Target's doing a great thing here where they're simplifying the scheduling app. That way everyone can see what's going on. They can easily communicate with colleagues. They can try and switch hours, and it's all on one app. And then adding the 5 million hours is great. It's awesome. It's good for their employees. It makes their employees earn more money. It makes them work more. It makes them happier. Makes those employees are happier. They go to the store. Consumers walk in, and the employees greet them with smiles on their faces, as opposed to they're frustrated. If someone's frustrated, it gives off that the vibe that that a consumer doesn't really want to see. And if their employees are happy and they're smiling, it makes the consumers have a better experience. So the Target stores teams, they continue to step up to serve their guests and the communities when they're counted on, time and time again. Says Mark Schindele, their Target's chief stores officer. He also went on to say they are at the heart of our winning strategy, which is why Target continues to invest in providing training, consistent hours and schedules, and support to take care of them as long as they deliver for our guests and power of business. So these latest investments build on their year-round support for all team members through industry-leading starting wages, benefits, training, and career growth opportunities. It includes their $15 minimum wage, the most comprehensive debt-free education assistant program in the retail industry, multiple recognition bonuses over the past 18 months, and numerous pandemic-related benefits that have now become permanent offerings. So they continue to step up when their employees need them. They give them consistent hours. They take care of them. They provide them debt-free schooling, or at least a comprehensive package that makes going back to school attractive. Starting $15 minimum wage, which is higher than a lot of competitors. So they really are taking care of their employees, which goes a long way when they're treating the consumers that walk into their store. So this next slide is the current stock market performance as of 11/29/2022. You can see here it's from Yahoo Finance. It's the stock price today closed at $166.37 per share. It shows the summary of the previous close. So yesterday it closed at 165.37. Today it opened at 164.43. It shows the day's range where it went from 161.51 to 166.97. So today the highest it reached was 166.97. So the 52-week range, so over the past year, the lowest it's been was 137 per share, and the highest it's been was 254. So obviously it's come down a lot, but again, it's not indicative of struggles. It's more so speaking to the market. Now you see the market cap up top shows that it's about $76.5 billion in market cap. So we want the stock market performance. So the Target Corporation is traded on the New York Stock Exchange as letters TGT. As of closing bell on 10/27/2022, the stock price is 166.90. So still, just about what it is today, almost a month, actually more than a month later. So over the last year, the stock has dropped 35.37%, down a total of 91.32. So as you saw on the last slide, it went down 35.37%, but it also before that went up a lot. So it's been steadily around a good amount. So over the past 5 years, the stock has increased 181.17%, which is up a total of around $107.50. So in 1967, in October, Target went public with the IPO at $34 per share. And since that IPO, there have been 6 stock splits. So a $500 investment when the initial public offering happened in 1967, including the stock splits, that'd be worth over $150,000 as of today, give or take. So the highest a single Target share has closed was $260.85, which occurred on November 16th, 2021. The reason that number wasn't in the previous on the current chart was because that's over the 52-week mark, so it's just over a year ago. Next, we'll go on to the 5-year projections about the financial results of the company. So before we jump to the 5 years, I'll show you this current chart is the revenue estimate. So in the current quarter, which at this point is now the last quarter, the number of analysts that reviewed this, 21, average estimate is 26.39 billion. The low estimate is 25.77 billion. High estimate is 26.77 billion. And then we go on to the next quarter, which is January 2023, so quarter 1. The average estimate here is 32.12 billion. Low estimate's 31.19 billion. High estimates around 32.75 billion. The year ago sales in quarter 1, so quarter 1 of 2022 was 31 billion. The sales growth per year is about 3.6%. And the next one is the current year or the next year, which will be 2023. So it's hard to compare the current year to the last quarter based off of these slides. So I'm just showing you these one by one. This is the next year, so 2024, it's an estimate. And then here it finally shows, and I'll move myself here. It shows the altogether comparison of the average estimate, the low estimate, the high estimate, the year ago sales. The reason this is larger is because this compares 1 quarter. This is a year. So it looks like it's going to steadily grow sales, at least according to these projections. All right, so the next slide here. This is Target's forecast earnings growth. So this is a graph according to the Wallet Investor. So according to Wallet Investor, Target projected stock price in November 2027, which is around 5 years from now, will be around $344 per share. Of course, a lot can happen in that time frame. This is just considering steady growth and consistent growth over the next couple of years. Whether it goes up as smoothly as this bar graph does, I would doubt it, but it's just showing their consistent growth and what it potentially could be.